Welcome to episode number 26 of the Commissioner Corner podcast. As always, I'm here with the man, the guy that you all know, five-time Bomber himself. How's it going, Bomber? What's going on tonight?
I told you we don't ever start the show with how's it going. We're past that already.
Howdy
episode number 26. Doody. Hey, this is the Le'Veon Bell episode of the Commissioner Corner podcast. So I expect you to make this good. If you can. Is that something you can do?
Is that before?
Huh?
I don't know. But
Off
here we
to
go.
A hot start. Here we go.
There we go. So this has been the most awkward start to a podcast in
this has
MBL
been horrible.
history. This is pretty bad. But I want to know how you're doing.
Hey, it's not bad for a first time. All right, so where are we going with this show? What do we got going on? Lip's taking charge of the Commissioner Corner podcast. I think he started about 3 episodes ago. So basically what I'm doing is kind of distancing myself from the fault of the introduction of this show so far.
Last week was much better. This week,
so
this week I started and I was immediately
interrupted
and told I'm not a good person, and now we are here, and I feel ashamed of myself.
All right, let's get it back. Not bad for a first start of a first brand new show, fresh start. Here we go. Let's start it over. Here we go.
Howdy doody. Okay, that's not working either. All right, guys. So welcome to the Commissioner Corner podcast. I'm Lip. I'm here with Bummer, and we got a good show going on tonight. We're going to look at some teams that are pushing towards the playoff. One team is surging. The other team just lost their leader. We're going to get into that and more. We have a special owner on tonight, a guy that you see around the network, especially around building the franchise. Jacksonville Jaguars owner Unisolated is going to be here. He's going to take on the 3-and-out challenge. It's been tough for a lot of guys so far. OSU did the best. We'll get into the standings as we get into the show, but right now we're just going to go around the league, talk about some things that are upcoming on the MBL network. Tomorrow, or this weekend, Sunday night, you're going to get a new episode of Building the Franchise Detroit Lions, and that's going to be the 13th episode. Now, you've seen a lot of things go on with the player management, what's happening with each game each week, and Bomber, that's a good series for the show. And is there anything that you want to kind of give a little teaser towards coming up on the next show, the 13th episode?
Yeah, the 13th episode is probably going to sound a little bit like, I believe, the 11th episode or the 10th episode. We officially end contract negotiations with Eric Ebron. We do it in the game officially, so that's a big release. He's going to be a free agent in NBL Season 28. I know the New York Jets and Delvar are just itching to bring in a tight end with the pedigree of Eric Ebron, but he's going to be out there, man. I used to call him, Lip? Eric LeBron. Short for LeBron James of the NBL. Not anymore. He can't catch a cold. He's got brick hands, and I'm done with him. And actually, he's been playing fairly well over the last couple of weeks for me, like really well. If you go check out the stats on MaddenBomberLeague.com, he's been playing really good. And I almost thought, man, I would look like such a liar if I brought him back. So now I'm like pot committed. That's a poker reference for those who play Texas Hold'em, where now I have to get rid of him just because I've already gone all in and I don't want to sound like a phony. So, you know, maybe I Golden Tatum and try to bring him back in free agency. But he will hit free agency. We aren't going to sign him. And it looks like we're going to save some money in there and try to make some plays in free agency and talk about some upcoming rookies in this rookie draft and maybe draft a tight end in that spot.
That's what those players always do. They know that they're going to be cut.
Yeah.
The word goes around, then they start to play. Like you said, Ebron can't catch anything. You tell him he's going to get cut, he starts to catch everything, starts to change your mind. But we'll look forward to that.
It's kind of like real life. You know, somebody gets in the hot seat in NBL, and then their tweets start getting good. They start getting longer. I mean, I just see it all the time. Big shout out to Todd out there. You know, they start picking up the pace. You go, man, where'd this come from? You know, you whip the horse a little bit, and he responds. You know, and until you whip him too much, and then you get nothing from him. So Eric Ebron, hopefully he's good down the stretch, and man, hopefully we can make a run. But we're going to be ending the contract negotiations on this next episode. I haven't done it officially yet in real life, but it will be done on that Sunday, and it'll be official. He'll be a free agent in NBL Season 28.
Eric Ebron hitting the free market. Where will he land? Titans. Detroit Lions having a good season. Currently sitting at 10-3. Make sure you check out Building Franchise. That'll come out Sunday night. Detroit Lions. Moving on tomorrow, Saturday afternoon, 4 p.m. We're going to have an MBL Live, and that's something that everybody loves around the network, inside and out, both leagues. And that's going to be the Seahawks versus the Raiders. That's going down at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. You're going to want to check that out. The Seahawks are having quite both these teams are having such troubling seasons. Seahawks coming off a Super Bowl year, not really finding their groove. And as you've seen on the last magazine for Madden Bomber League, what just happened? Oakland has now lost 5 of the last 6 games. That's quite a slide for this team. And I want to see who wants this game more and where this game's going to go. But that's going to be on tomorrow, 4 p.m.
Yeah, well, let me interject something. Okay, yeah, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. I'm going to be on the call for that game. It's going to be the Seattle Seahawks, Oakland Raiders. Quite a rivalry kind of brewing between 2 different conference teams. Some trash talking going on. But, yeah, this is Raiders started this season off playing as well as they did last season. And the Seahawks have looked not good consistently throughout the year. Win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 2, win 1. You know, that kind of thing. The Raiders are in a little bit of a slump. So it's really going to be, you know, the Seahawks pretty much have shown their card of who they are this year. Maybe they go on a playoff run and they make that magical kind of run, kind of like what the Patriots did last season. And they ran through the AFC, and they didn't have a great regular season, but they had a great playoffs. If they limp into the playoffs, it could all start tomorrow. This is a big game for them, Week 15. Opportunity for Seahawks to kind of get in that rhythm, get into the playoffs, and then we say, man, maybe they're just a cruise control team, you know? As far as the Raiders go, they're 3rd in their division right now. This is the streak has to end now. We want to get back to playing that Raider Nation football that we saw at the early part of this year and throughout all last season. So we'll see which team comes out and can step up, and hopefully it's a good showing for both teams.
Yeah, this is a must-win game for the Seahawks. They still have a very good shot at their division title. The Cardinals right now are sitting at 6-6-1. Seahawks are 6-7. If you fall to 6-8, that's going to be a tough road to come back on, and that's going to be a good game to see those 2 owners in a must-win situation go at it on MBL Live.
Big shout out to Bomber's #1 fan in the chat right now. He's always active when I'm on the show. It's like he just knows. He just knows, and he comes on and he makes a scene, and I'm happy to have you here. And if you give me your name and your address, we'll go ahead and send you an MBL Network t-shirt. But you're going to have to reveal yourself to me because I got to know who you are, and I'm tired of getting blamed for that being me. But tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as Lip was just saying, Seahawks, Raiders. The Seahawks currently 6-7, 2nd in their division. The Raiders 3rd in their division, 7-6. Both of these teams on the edge and cusp of making the playoffs in NBL Season 27. Both were playoff teams last year. Seahawks, obviously, the NBL Season 26 Super Bowl champions. This should be a great game. Make sure you tune in.
And whether or not somebody's going to come out with that game confident is highly debatable, and that's a transition into the newest MBL Network show, Highly Debatable. The first episode was released. OSU and Sonny talked about Daniel Shirley. They talked about those Seattle Seahawks, and then they talked about who was a front runner for MVP so far in this season. And I thought that was the most interesting segment. They really got some back and forth going about that, had different points of views. I think that Sonny won that. I don't know if that's what most people thought, but I thought that the first episode went to Sonny, and I thought that he had a good point, especially in the MVP section.
Absolutely. I think the first episode went to Sonny for sure. As it says coming soon there on the graphic I believe you're looking at now. Obviously not coming soon. It's already been released. I went to hashtag Sonny wins just because there's certain segments you talk about when you talk about champions, and not respecting the current champion is a no-go for me. You have to respect the greatness. And I saw too many times OSU had a difference of opinions on the quality of play from the New England Patriots last year and the Seattle Seahawks, kind of trashed on both of those teams. And I just know how hard it is to get to the Super Bowl in the NBL, and you can't knock that. That's just something. What the Patriots did last regular season wasn't something that made you go, wow, that's a team that's going to make the Super Bowl. But what they did in the playoffs, look at the teams they beat, Lip. I mean, they came out. They beat Gubb and the Los Angeles Chargers,
Yeah.
And then they beat you and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they went through the AFC. It wasn't like they skated around. And, the Seahawks had a solid year. They made it through the playoffs. They went to the Super Bowl and played a pretty hot New England Patriot team. And they're very convincing in their win. They pretty much dominated the defensive side of the ball, and they came up with some big clutch plays, and they ended up pulling away. And it was a matchup of 2 teams that were very similar. But I'm not with the knocking on the success teams per se, and that's why I went with hashtag Sonny wins.
Yeah, and I'm excited for those 2. They were kind of getting their feel this first episode. I'm excited for those 2 to get into it more and more as we go into the progression of that show. I'm excited to see it develop. But moving on, we're going to get into our first topic.
Let's get into the show. Yes, let's go.
This is a big topic because this is a guy that has been around for quite some time, and he's making a playoff push and then something devastating happens. And that we're going to be talking about Todd and his Colts. And the sad news out of Indianapolis is that Andrew Luck is out for the rest of the season. He dislocated his elbow and will be out 5 weeks. And that is just a crushing injury because that's your quarterback for one, but also you're 9-4 tied with the Titans in that division. The Titans just won a game, so they're one up at 10-4. So now they're in a position where they're going to have to figure out how to win without a quarterback, and it's going to be a tough road for them to go without Andrew Luck.
Absolutely. Andrew Luck is the heart and soul of this offense. He was having a pretty good year as far as the Colts standards, as far as passing. Yeah, his completion percentage was not good. It was bottom, probably third or fourth tier in the MBL at 57%, 22 touchdowns and 26 interceptions. But when he has been on, they have beat some fairly good teams. I want to take you to week 11 when Andrew Luck played against the Washington Redskins, the red-hot Redskins, and we're going to talk about them in a little bit as well. He went 18 for 25, 374 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and was only sacked once. That's what's really plagued Andrew Luck. He's been sacked over 60 times in the last 2 seasons, and I think that has just taken a toll on him. Even in the game versus Tennessee, week 14, they're at home. He gets no protection. He's 2 for 2. He throws for 31 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but he was sacked twice. That means he actually took the ball 4 times, dropping back, looking to pass, completed both of his ones he was able to get off, but the other 2 he takes a sack on, and I think that's a big deal. And Andrew Luck is definitely a guy, if you can keep him upright, you see success even against Houston in week 3. A victory that they edge off the Houston Texans 31-28. He was 15 for 20, 196, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 118 QBR. He did it again in Buffalo. They lost that game, but if he can have a big game, you notice that they're in these games that maybe a lot of people don't think, man, the Colts, I don't see them as winning the division. I don't see them as beating good teams. But if he plays well, they absolutely can compete with anybody in the NBL.
Yeah, and you talk about this stretch that they've been on. You talked about the win in Washington. They beat the Patriots very easily. Then they go on and they beat the Raiders 38-27. And then without Andrew Luck, they fall to the Titans 21-18. So that's a tough loss to take, especially without the quarterback. But the thing about Andrew Luck and the thing about the Colts is that he and that offense is what is going to drive them to these victories. If you look at their stats as a team, they're in the top 10 in passing yards, in yards, and in points. But then on the defensive side of the ball, they're 17th in points at 19 per game. They're 23rd in passing yards and total yards. And there's just no help on the defensive side of the ball. So there's not a situation where you can say, I'm going to rely on my defense, play smart offense with a backup quarterback, and try to get some of these tough wins, because this is such an offensive-driven team. I don't know if they can find a way to win with a defense that's been playing that poorly so far.
Yeah, so here's the question. Here's the question, Lip. You're setting it up nice right here, and I'm going to kick it to the guys in the chat. Andrew Luck's out. This is a team that relies on a passing attack that is, at best, I'd say, inconsistent. Is that a polite word to use? When they're on, and when they're off, it's not that good. And that was the problem. And I think mainly, I don't put the blame on Andrew Luck like some might. Andrew Luck making bad decisions, bad read. I don't really see that. I see a guy that's hurried. He's hurried in the top 3 in the NBL. Andrew Luck is second as the most hurried quarterback in the league. And I think that's affecting his play across the board. And now it's affected his health, and he's out. But can the Indianapolis Colts hold on and defeat the Titans here and take this division, or does Sonny get back-to-back championships in NBL Season 27 in the AFC South? I'm going to ask the chat. Hashtag Sonny wins, hashtag Tot wins. Let us know in the chat what you think. Go ahead and give us some thoughts on that as far as those 2 teams go, because they've had kind of quite a rivalry to start this Madden 18 cycle off.
Yeah, and if you look in week 5, the Colts got the win over the Titans 21-14, and then as we spoke about, the Titans were able to get a 3-point win last week in week 14. So they're split between the head-to-head matchups. I'm not sure what the division tiebreakers and those settings would be, but it's very possible that these teams could tie at the end of the season and it would go down to a tiebreaker of some sort. The Colts have the Jets, the Browns, and the Cowboys left on their schedule. Those are 3 winnable games. There's no team on there that I say the Tot is completely out, the Colts are completely out. And even I would say in 2 of them they have an upper hand. As long as they can play better defense. It doesn't have to be the best defense. It just has to be a better defense and mix in smart offense. And that combination will help you win against these teams. I don't know what it'll look like in the playoffs, but as far as finishing out this season, I think that they have a good hand and at least tying. And
so you think that's a favorable schedule? Jets, Browns, Cowboys? Oh, man, I don't. I absolutely think that, for one, I think the most deadliest team on those final 3 teams is the New York Jets because of the history of playing spoiler, that the New York Jets, a team that's very young, insanely young, they come out and they play hard every game, and towards the end of the season, they catch teams. They get up to get in games and essentially ruin your playoff hopes. They did it to the Buffalo Bills last year, who had the division just hand-delivered to them. Oh, they're playing the Jets. All they have to do is win. The Patriots lost. Patriots wouldn't even been in the playoffs last year. How crazy is that?
Yeah,
the Patriots went to the Super Bowl because the Jets defeated the Buffalo Bills. Nobody's talking about that story, but that's the absolute truth. Or is it the other way around? Oh, okay. So I have it wrong. My producer's in my ear. Obviously, the New York Jets. Completely wrong. So we're going to go ahead and edit this part out. Forget the last 10 seconds you heard. What happened was the Jets defeated the Patriots. Wait, is that right? The Jets defeated the Patriots, so I was right. And all the Bills had to do was beat the Dolphins, and the Bills failed to do that. And everybody thought the Patriots were pretty much in because they were going to play the Jets. The Jets beat them. The Jets ended up tweeting out to the Bills, you're welcome, right? So the Bills are thinking, we're good right now. We get to play the Dolphins. They're going to lay down. And I'll tell you what, that's what I love about the AFC East. They used to call it the AFC least. These teams fight all the way till week 17, and there's some young teams. Like, have you looked at this Jets roster? I know we're talking about the Colts right now, but man, this Jets roster is young and they're up and coming. And I see that, and I think to myself, when I look at the AFC South, I see, 2 teams that are really competing for playoff spots as well. But I don't see the youth that I see throughout the AFC on some of these bottom teams, or teams, lower tier teams, non-playoff teams. I think they're eventually going to push out, and this window that's closing because Andrew Luck is hurt, I think it's going to affect these Colts, and I think it might hurt them 2 or 3 seasons from now. They might look back and go, man, that Andrew Luck injury in NBL season 27 kind of closed our window on our franchise right now.
I would agree that the Jets have probably the better opportunity, but the only thing that I can't get behind is the situation is that the Colts have to play defense. And in that game against the Jets are 32nd in passing offense. They run the ball extremely effectively. Matt Forte is doing incredible things. We talked about that on the last episode. If the Jets can, that's the most dangerous thing. If the Jets can run the ball, control the clock, and put the pressure on a backup quarterback for the Colts, that is the ticket to beating them, because you're not going to do it in the air, even though the defense for the Colts isn't that good. But I just don't know if you trust the Jets' passing attack, but I would 100% trust Matt Forte in that crazy offense that he is leading as far as the ground game for the Jets.
A little fountain of youth there. And then we go on, we look at the Browns, a team that maybe hasn't lived up to the expectation they set early in NBL season 26, but I look at the Browns and I actually think, Lip, that's a team. They obviously going to play the Colts in week, 16 of this season. I actually look at that game and I think to myself, I think the Browns are still ahead of pace to where I had them. I think it's another young team growing. And yeah, maybe they're not competing with the Steelers right now, and they wanted to give themselves a 2-year window. But being 8-6 and winning 10 games last season, I think the Cleveland Browns, are fine. I think they're fine. I wouldn't consider this a bust at all. I think they could beat the Colts. Colts could essentially go 0-3, and then you got the Dallas Cowboys to finish it up. I don't know, man. I'd like to see them play well and run the table and put some pressure on the Titans, and just to see how that goes. But I don't see it happening. I think Andrew Luck kind of falters. Andrew Luck's injury kind of has this team slide, and I think the backup quarterback, which is Blaine Gabbert, will falter down the stretch because the schedule isn't, it just isn't that favorable for me to go ahead and say, yeah, you can put in Blaine Gabbert and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, and the thing about the Browns, whenever you can't protect Andrew Luck, that guy's making reads, quick, because he's Andrew Luck. He knows the offense. You throw Blaine Gabbert in there with a line that's not protecting Andrew Luck, you're going up against Myles Garrett with 13 sacks, Emmanuel Ogbah with 7 sacks. That's a tough defense to play. They have a lot of pressure on the quarterback, so it's going to be very tough for the Colts to throw in a backup quarterback with a team that does not with an offensive line that does not give the quarterback protection.
Let's not forget, Blaine Gabbert did play 3 quarters against the Tennessee Titans. He got sacked 4 times on 14 attempts. 4 times. That's too many times. This line is not ready. It's not playoff ready. If they do get into the playoffs, or they do end up winning 2 of the next 3 games, which would put them at what? What would that give their record to be? That put them at 11 wins. So that put them in. For all intents and purposes, if they can win 2 of the next 3, I think they beat the Cowboys. I think the Jets beat them. I just have this feeling. And if the Jets beat them, all bets are off. I don't think the Jets get, I don't think the Indianapolis Colts make that wild card push. But I think the division is done. What do you think? Division done for this team with no Andrew Luck?
It's tough to say yes, because I think there's a fighting chance, but I would say yes because the Titans have all their pieces. They just have to stay a game ahead of the Colts. It looks like right now, even if they would tie, the Titans are 5-1 in the division. The Colts are 4-2, so that would give the division to the Titans. That would force the Colts to be in a wild card spot. They're in a good position right now. They're 1 win ahead of everybody else fighting for those spots. But the Chiefs at 8-4-1, the Patriots at 8-5, and then you get down to the 6 loss teams. Something crazy would have to happen for them to get in. So I think the Colts are safe as far as a wild card spot. But I would have to agree. You've made a good argument that the division hopes for the Colts have gone out the door.
All right, let's move on. What do we got next? What do you got next cooking up for us?
Well, we just talked about some sacks with the old Browns, but we're going to head out to Arizona, where we got a guy named Tyler Woods, who is just dominating offensive linemen, getting to the quarterback, and showing that he is one of the best pass rushers
I never
in
heard
NBL.
of her. I never heard of her.
You've never heard of her?
Who is it?
Tyler Woods from the Arizona Cardinals is posting a pretty remarkable rookie season. He went 10 straight games with at least 1 sack. He has 13 sacks on the season so far, and that's a building piece that you can throw in there with Tyrann Mathieu, Patrick Peterson, and some other young talent on that Cardinals defense that you can build around and have something to really play a certain style of defense, have an identity for your team. Because without the defense, they have nothing, because they don't really have an offense. So when you have this identity as a defense that can attack opposing offenses, it gives you something, and that's a good thing. And it all starts with Tyler Woods here. All
right, quick trivia question for you, Lip, on the spot. Tyler Woods, what round was he drafted in the NBL Season 27 rookie draft?
He was a late pick. He was not one of the highly
round
looked guys. 7th round.
He's looking at his card.
7th round.
No way you knew that. 7th round.
No
pick,
way.
13
I have investigated
sacks.
this guy. That's why he's such
wow.
a.
This guy's a low key defensive
rookie
of the year.
Unique. That's why he's so
defensive
unique.
Rookie of the year.
Coming out of absolutely nowhere, out of Hawaii. Who plays at Hawaii? I don't know.
Tyler Woods, I guess.
Tyler Woods. That's the only thing. And he is making such an impact on the NBL with his ability to get after the quarterback.
Yeah, nice little rookie spotlight we got going on for Tyler Woods. Man, defensive rookie of the year, maybe. I mean, 13 sacks, that's impressive. And the consistency throughout the year, that's impressive. For a 7th round pick, man, you just got to give it to somebody like that. That's just a great story. Hopefully no sophomore slump, but we can continue talking about Tyler Woods next season. And these Cardinals are find themselves right in the playoff hunt due to a slipping Seattle Seahawks team this year. Kind of a team that is it a Super Bowl hangover? That was the question on Highly Debatable. I think a little bit of yeah, definitely not playing up to your potential, playing a more difficult schedule this year, different divisions. And I think they just kind of got a little older, and it's kind of showing. But that doesn't mean the Seahawks aren't capable of going on a run and winning the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that by any means. I think they absolutely could. The Cardinals essentially are ahead right now. They're 6-6-1. The Seahawks are 6-7. So it's going to be crazy down the stretch for the NFC West division. Well, the Seahawks won it last year. They are the reigning Super Bowl champions as well. And here's another interesting fact. How many people have thrown passes this season for the Arizona Cardinals? You know the number to that?
I'm going to say 4.
It's actually been 5. David Johnson actually threw a pass out of Wildcat.
Oh,
You've got Carson Palmer, Christian Frank, Christian Hackenberg, Brandon Doughty, and David Johnson. David Johnson 1 for 1, 2 yards. And Hackenberg, former New York Jet, making a play, 14 for 30. Don't worry, Delvar, you're not missing anything with that. That's under 50%. A guy named Christian Frank has come in, and Carson Palmer was 68 for 133, 896 yards. You know how many yards they passed for this year? Not good.
1,400.
Around that. And here's the good part about this team, though. The defense is so good, only giving up 14 points per game, puts them in the top 5. Their offense scoring 7, so that's a nice little positive. It's going to be close games, but they've been finding ways to grind them out and win, led by David Johnson, 209 attempts, 1,000 yards, 5.1 yards per carry, and 8 touchdowns. And on the flip side of that, that defense, led by Tyler Woods, the rookie, the 7th-round pick. Now, does that make up for arguably one of the worst picks in NBL history?
No.
No, it doesn't.
Never.
You're not giving him any credit for that.
No.
Why?
You can't come back from that.
I don't know. 7th-round pick with that. I mean, yeah, he took a bad pick, number 2 overall. You remember the guy's name? You're going to go 3 for 3.
I know.
Because that's not right in front of you, so you actually have to think about it. Delvar, you know the name? Let's see if our producer knows it. No. He's a quick no. Yeah. Why don't you say that to the people on 3 and Out that you don't know? Why do you always give them an answer? Because it's a multiple choice, and you feel like you can just BS it till in front of everybody?
And everything's at your fingertips if you're fast enough.
Well, that ain't the case for the old Jets owner. Here we go. What do we got next? Where are we going? Where are we going with it? He's about to say, I can cut this stream off quick.
Well, Washington
impressive.
Redskins.
Hey, big shout out to JY. What a pick, 7th-round pick. Tyler Wood. That's a 5-star draft right there. If you can get a guy like that, 6'4", nearly 300 pounds, power move killer. I think he had 89 power moves. I mean, that's impressive right now. I guess we're moving on to Redskins wild card hopes. And I always say in the NBL, hope is a dangerous drug. But Lip, I'm sorry I stole your segue, but go ahead and give us some background information on what you think about these Washington Redskins.
Well, I don't think that the Washington Redskins are going to be able to pull out the division, but I do think their wild card hopes are alive and well. This team's pulling out tough wins and really sticking with their identity of running the football and at least staying in the game on the defensive side of the ball. But I look at the 1-point win over the Jaguars. They stay in a tough game with the Cowboys, have a big offensive explosion. They win 33-44, and then another tough defensive game against the Rams. They win 12-6. This is a team that kind of plays to the team that they're playing, and they're middle of the road on both sides of the ball. But that's something that's unique and special about this team, is that they can play whatever style of football they need to win against somebody, whoever they're playing against. Now, the last 2 games are against the Giants and the Falcons.
Stop. Say what you just said again.
I don't remember what I just said.
I got something to say. You said they can play to any style of their opponent, right?
Yes.
So you know what you're really saying. You know, and Porter, the owner of the Washington Redskins, doing a great job in the front office outside of the ridiculous trade where he gave Keith Marshall a 3rd-round pick for nobody. But we'll talk about that in another time. You said the Washington Redskins can play a style and change their style, right? Depending on who they're playing. You know what that tells me about the Washington Redskins? And I agree with you. I agree with your statement, but I think you are completely putting some PC words behind this, not trying to offend. I think what you're saying is that this team has no identity. And if you have no identity, you have no consistency. You're going to be playing the New York Giants and the Atlanta Falcons down the stretch. That's a combined win-loss record of. You ready for it? Drum roll, Delver. We got the drum roll queued up. He said, no, we don't have that. All right. 21-5 this year. The 2 top teams, 2 of the top 3 teams in the NFC right now, record-wise. That's who he's got to go against. A team with no identity. Yeah. They're going to finish 9-7, sadly. And I root for the Washington Redskins. I really do. But I have to be real about this situation. I don't see it happening. I think the Panthers slide in and take that spot, or maybe even the Bears on the weak side. But the Bears, they just had a really tough loss against the Packers that I think might have sealed their fate as far as making a wild card run right now. But I mean, I don't think they have an identity. I think you're right about that. I think you said it in a nice, more polite way. They can play to their the strengths of the other team. They can kind of adapt their play style. But until they get an identity of who they are, who are you? You know, what are you really good at? You know, we really won't be able to say this team is that good because they're just middle of the road at everything, and you don't really see anything that really steps out. I think they do have a bright spot in Zach Belisari. I saw him on MBL Live. I thought he played great, rookie quarterback. Perrine has had a couple big games. He's got 176 attempts, 937 yards, 5.3 yards per carry, 10 touchdowns, and all that good stuff. They've ran for 1,100 yards between him and Thompson. But I just don't see any dominating to say, wow, you know, that team has this is their identity until they get that, which they might have it next year. You know, they're young. They're still really young. But right now, I don't think they have an identity. What are your thoughts on that? What's your rebuttal to that? Am I hitting it spot on, or am I absolutely off here?
Oh, no, you're totally right that they have no identity. Piron's basically all that they have. They have a decent pass rush and a couple okay players now and then. They're inconsistent as it gets on defense, but the ticket for them is that Week 17 game against the Falcons. I'm expecting that the Falcons will have the division locked up. They're 2 games ahead of the Panthers right now. I think that they're going to have it locked up by then. I'm not saying they sit players. I'm not saying they
might. They might,
but I'm not. I just don't see them taking that game as serious as they need to. And when you do that against a team like these Redskins, the way they're playing, I think that can be a win. So that would put them at 10-6. It would be tough to get in at that point, because I do think you're right. The Panthers are there at 8-5, but I think that is the window. That Week 17 game against the Falcons, they're not going to be that focused. I think they'll have the 3 seed locked up, and I don't think that they'll be as focused. And I think that's going to let that window for the Redskins to sneak in.
Yeah, I agree. We're completely agreeing, except for the fact that outside the last 2 sentences you said, they lose to the Falcons and they go 9-7. So we're actually on the complete opposite ends, but I'm going to say we agree.
Well.
Do we got anything else after this? Are we ready for 3 and out?
Yeah.
Or are we going to talk about these Deadskins a little bit longer? Because, it's getting boring.
We're moving
Porter,
on.
Step your game up. Lamar Miller runs for 250 on you in week 14? Come on, man. It's time to do the 3 and out. We just moved in unisolated.
There he is.
Set up the 3 and out. You got all the rules. You're running the show. I'm stepping on your toes. I realize that. So I'm going to back a little bit. And I'll just be the – what am I keeping the time on this?
Yeah, you will be the official timer. Hop says that you do not keep
timer.
You do not keep time fairly.
Don't you think I'm a little over? Am I a little overqualified to be an official timer? Hey, we need to get somebody on here who will be an official. Hey, where's Draco at? Draco would be perfect for official timer. My
Isolated.
gosh.
Are you
Yes,
here?
sir.
Do you have him working now?
Yes, sir.
He's here.
Unisolated, the
of the Jacksonville
owner.
Jaguars.
There we go. Plug
And
the show.
BTF Bowl champion. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah. Who's
the
the
statute
other
of
guy?
limitations? That
Who's the
doesn't
other guy?
really apply. What are we talking about here?
3 and out. It's time for the show. Unisolated.
Okay, let's go.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. We are going to give you 20 questions if you can make it that far. You get 3 strikes and you're out of here. Your answer must be given within 5 seconds from the completion of the question. We actually changed that to 3 seconds. So, Bomber, you got that? You got
Are
that?
the rules being shown on the screen right now, Jack? And you got the X button too, Jack? I just saw it flash. We got that?
Yeah.
Okay, also, another thing, the leaderboard. Don't forget that before we get into there. But yes, it's been changed to 3 seconds, so you get 3 seconds to answer, which I don't think it'll be a problem on Isolated. You're not looking to surf the web. You're gonna guess immediately, right?
Yep.
All right, there we go.
If you do not know the question, you can use one of the 3 lifelines. You've got a 50-50 in this multiple choice. I will take one of the options away. That'll leave you with 2 choices. You can select one. You can ask the chat. We'll give you some time to ask the chat. They can suggest their options. You pick one and run with it, or you can do the death line of asking Delvar. You can ask our executive producer Delvar for his thoughts.
And the backstory on Delvar.
He has not been good.
No, he's single-handedly eliminated 3 of the 4 contestants in our first season. We only have 5 contestants per season, so you are the last. So you kind of got an advantage, I'd say, right? Because he's got to beat a certain score to get in. He knows what he has to score, so there's no point of playing it scared. Use your lifelines to get yourself past. I think he has to get past a 9. He has to tie a 9 or beat a 9.
He does.
And then you go to the final round, which next one will do you'll take on the top 2, which is OSU's already clinched his way in. So it'll be OSU versus who's second right now at 9.
Kyle.
Let's put that. Okay, so it's going to be Kyle and OSU or Kyle and Unisolated, essentially. And then they'll play each other, and then the winner of that will go into our 3 and out Champions Hall of Fame, whatever we're going to call it. And we'll have a banner. We'll show that every episode. That'll end season 1. But before this show ends, you will actually take on Lip to win a grand prize, which we haven't decided yet. It might be a $50 gift card somewhere, something from $50 to $100 opportunity to win, which we know in Isolated will go a long way because we've seen that desk you had to set up, and that thing must have set you back $500 because that was a sweet looking desk, man. It really was. It took you about 5 hours to set it up, so maybe next time, that $100 or whatever you get, you can put it towards setting up another one of your projects around the house. Get somebody else to do it because, man, 6 hours, man, that's got to be gruesome. But yeah, so that's where we're at. You have to get 9 points or more. And if you tie, I don't know how we'll do the tiebreaker. I guess we'll bring all 3 of them back on and kind of have the 2 at the bottom. Oh, Delvar says flip a coin. So forget the hard work. Let's put it in a 50-50. Let's throw a Chicago Bears jump ball right now and just do a coin flip and see what happens. But that's where we're at, and I think we're ready to do the questions. Did I miss anything?
OSU sits at 12 points. Kyle sits at 9. Chunky at 7, and Hop at 4, which was grisly to get through. Unisolated. It's time to start the show. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Question number 1. Who was the MBL most improved owner for MBL season 26? Was it Homer, Bomber, or Sonny?
Homer.
That is correct. Question number 2.
1 point. That's 1 point. Correct. Question number 1's correct. That's 1 point. Am I supposed to say that or no? Let me recap. I'll recap the score after every wrong and incorrect answer. Okay. Let's do that moving forward. Trying to find a spot here because I ain't just no timekeeper. Gotta give me something bigger. Question number 1 is right. That's 1 point already for Unisolated.
Number 2. What team does left tackle Cam Robinson play for in the MBL? Is it the Patriots, the Jaguars, or the Chiefs?
Seriously? Jaguars.
Disrespectful. 2 points. He's got both of his answers right, and he has all 3 lifelines left.
Question number 3. What were the teams in the NFC Championship in MBL Season 26? Was it Lions, Redskins? Was it Seahawks, Giants? Or was it the Penguins and the Sharks?
Seahawks, Giants.
That's question number 3 is correct. That's 3 in a row. He's got 3 right.
It was not Penguins versus Sharks. I'm glad you did not go with that option. Delvar might have, but I'm glad
Who writes these questions?
I should have asked Delvar.
Yeah, these are too easy, man. Let's go. That's 3 right. Okay, so he's 6 away from tying 9, which would tie Kyle, and they would have to do some kind of a runoff. Delvar suggested a coin flip. We might go with that. But if you get over 9, you're into the final show, and you got 3 lifelines left, and you've got your first 3 questions right, and you have 3 points. Here we go. Question number 4.
Who was the winner of the MBL EA Access tournament this year? Was it Hop? Was it Fast Damien? Or was it It's X Luigi X?
Luigi.
That's correct.
That's 4 in a row. Question number 5.
We're stepping her up a little bit. In the formula for wide receiver 1 equals wide receiver 2 plus wide receiver 3, how many yards are added to this formula?
100.
50 yards?
Oh, quick answer.
He doesn't even need the option. He doesn't even need the options.
That's 6 points. Man, y'all trying to gift wrap Unisolated, man. There's some conspiracy going on. Kyle's got to be shaking in his boots. 3 more to go to tie, 4 to win. He's got all 3 lifelines left. Question number 7.
Who is the MBL complaints guru listed on 365.maddenbomberleague.com? Is it October, Sonny, or Chunky?
Chunky.
That's 7 in a row. That's correct again. 7 points for Unisolated. The BTF Jacksonville Jaguar owner, producer,
That's
voiceover.
6.
No, that's 7.
That's 6.
Guys in the chat, let us know. Did I miss one? Is it 6 or 7? Let's get it guys in the chat.
It is 6.
Are you sure?
I am positive.
Is that 6 or 7? I'm gonna wait for the chat to respond because they obviously have been listening. 6
or 7.
All right, Bomber can't count. It is 6.
It's 6. All right. Now we're on to question 7.
I can only count to 5. That's probably why.
I get it. I get it. I see that Popovich gif in my head when you say that.
There you go.
Who was the MVP of MBL season 26? Was it Davis Webb, Antonio Brown, or Andrew Luck?
Webb.
Correct again. He's 7.
That's 7 correct answers. All 3 lifelines remain. He only has to get 2 more right, and he's headed to the final showdown with the MBL Network Director, MBL Network Director Assistant. Coming for your job,
look
OSU.
at that. Unisolated. Who was the first ever MBL member of the month? Was it Sonny? Was it Gibbs? Or was it DK?
DK.
Uh-oh.
That is incorrect. It was our friend Sonny Weaver.
You should have known that. He wanted us to change the name from Member of the Month to the Sonny Weaver Award, the SWA, and I completely fought him on it. It did not happen, but Sonny Weaver was the first ever MBL Member of the Month, which I believe, Lip, do you know when it was?
I do not.
Delvar, we get the X on the board? I believe it was sometime in July of 2016. at the time. Did we get the X up there?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So he's got 7 points. He's got one X. You get 3 strikes and you're out. He's got 1 strike right now. All 3 lifelines remain, though. He's on question number 9.
When playing the CPU, what is the max amount of points that may be scored? 28, 35, or 45?
35.
That's correct. He's got 8 points right now. 3 lifelines remain and only 1 strike. Question number 10.
Who was the player of the game for MBL Live Broadcast 107? Was it Devin McCourty, Ezekiel Elliott, or Taylor Tessero?
50-50.
Oh, using a lifeline.
50-50.
He's going to use his 50-50 lifeline right now, guys. Lip's going to give him 2 answers that remain. One is the correct answer. One is an incorrect answer. You cannot use 2 lifelines on 1 answer, so go ahead.
Was it Taylor Tessero or Ezekiel Elliott?
Elliott.
It was Taylor Tessero of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He is 1 point away. He's got 2 strikes. He's used 1 lifeline, the 50-50. He's on question number 11. It's heating up here on 3 and Out on the Commissioner Corner podcast, broadcast number 26. Shout out to Le'Veon Bell.
So we got 2 wrong so far in this question. If this ends you, this will be great. Who was the MBL owner of the year
there, Lip.
for MBL season 25? Was it Lip, Kyle, or Draco?
Lip.
Oh, wrong again, and that's the one that cut him down. That's what I meant.
It was Kyle, right?
It was Kyle, and that's funny. That keeps Kyle.
And Kyle's headed to the final show. He's going to take on that season. This is season 1 of the 3 and Out game show, guys. We hope you have enjoyed it. But he ends up with 8 points, puts him in 3rd place. The final 2 make it to a final showdown. OSU's going to duel Kyle, and who would have thought? Maybe one of the biggest rivalries in the NBL right now. They're playing NBL Live tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Redskins. No. Oh, my gosh. Raiders, Seahawks going at it, and they're going to be coming on the Commissioner Corner podcast in 2 weeks. And they're going to be battling it out, and the winner's going to take on Lip in a showdown for an opportunity to win a NBL-sponsored prize, and I can't wait. Unisolated, thanks for coming on. And how do we know? The man who, leads the league and he should lead the league in picks. But we have a blinder, older man who took that thing. But this all made sense to me. His quick, decisive ripping of answers without giving it any thought, Lip, kind of plays into how he throws the ball when he's in the pocket. He just rips it where you go, man, there must be a guy wide open, and you go, oh, nope, that was triple coverage. So he essentially, you had 2 lifelines left. Any regrets right now and isolated with the show, or do you feel, were you confident with that last guess, and why you didn't use the lifeline? Ask the chat or ask Delvar. Yeah, you could have asked Delvar.
Well, first off, I'm not asking Delvar because that's a terrible decision. But
it's like a 50-50 though. If whatever he tells you knows wrong, and the other 2,
yeah, true.
Gives you a 50-50.
No regrets though. We got 8 more than I thought.
Okay.
I think it got tripped up because you guys kept telling him they were easy. They were easy. He kept firing them fast, and then the one that involved Kyle cut him down. I love it.
I tell you what, out of everybody that's came on, he's looked more like Daniel Shirley in the pocket. I mean, stepping up and ripping it. Only to find there was 3 guys there, and that was completely a guarded pass. But we appreciate you coming on. I guess we'll do 5-6 minutes of the final segment. What is it called again? I forget.
Crossfire.
Crossfire. That's where we ask the audience. You guys pick the topics. So in the chat right now, if you got any topics you'd want right now, Bomber's #1 fan says if we get 20 likes, he will expose himself. We only got 8. So, it ain't happening.
No, we got 17.
Oh, we got 17 now? 17
Come on.
watching.
Let's go. Get the likes before the end of the show. We need 4 more. We need 3 more.
Oh, we got 17 likes. Oh, damn. I'm all right. All right, go ahead. So we got any topics right now that y'all want to discuss? Until then, we'll talk about Lip's Pittsburgh Steelers. And we'll talk about Lip's team so much that out of pure anger, you're going to give us a topic to talk about. Man, the Steelers are looking good this year, Lip.
Yes, they are.
Javier Howard. How do you pronounce that? How does he like to pronounce that? Javier. He has some French in him? Comes from Spanish descent?
I don't know, but he's on fire.
He is on fire. Homer's got something. My producer's in my ear. What is he asking? What did Homer ask? AFC, who's in, who's out? All right, I'll give you my 6 who are in. And then Lip can give you his 6 who he thinks is in. I got Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Colts, Chargers, Chiefs. I'm just going to go with the 6 that are already on there. I can see that happening. What do you got, Lip?
I would go with Steelers, Chargers, Titans, Bills, Colts, and I think that the Patriots somehow, they're not going to win the division, but they'll take up that 6th wild card spot, and that's my 6.
Very interesting right there. Any other topics we got going on right now? You got anything, Jack? A dark horse team in a conference. Well, my definition of dark horse would be a team that could limp in, that you maybe is kind of on the outskirts right now and kind of limps in and could do some real damage. And my outskirt team, dark horse team, I changed the complete name of it. My dark horse team is 100% the Carolina Panthers for one reason and one reason only: their passing attack. It has nothing to do with Christian McCaffrey. It has to do with Heath Joyce. 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions since taking the position from the soon-to-be free agent, potentially New York Jet or San Francisco 49er. Cam Newton is benched, so he'll be a free agent in NBL season 28. Heath Joyce is the guy I'm talking about, the rookie, the 2nd-round pick from Louisville, 6'4", 230 pounds. Been phenomenal, Lip. 137.4 QBR, 68% completion. And I'll say it again, 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And, man, that guy has looked phenomenal. And that's what makes them my dark horse in the NBL right now. And I want to let you guys know, as I was talking about Cam Newton, I had my producer in my ear saying, yeah, he's going to the Jets. Yeah, he's going to the Jets. Said it like 9 times in my ear. Really excited about trying to get him. So if you got some cap money and you want to spoil his plans, throw it on Cam Newton. But look, who's your dark horse?
I didn't initially put them into my 6 that would make the playoffs. But if this team did make the playoffs, I think that they could go on a run and they would do it in a surprising way. I think if the Kansas City Chiefs could make it into the playoffs, they have that tie that might help them out, that might hurt them. But I think that their style of defense and the surprising element of how good it is could really shake some teams up. You've got a couple teams in the AFC that like to throw the ball, and if they throw the ball and get down to this team, they could go on a big run. So I think if the Chiefs would get in, they would surprise a lot of teams with how good that defense actually is, and they could go on a run. So that's my dark horse if they were able to get in.
And I agree. So we'll push that together. That's the NFC, AFC dark horses. Looking at Bombers' #1 fan, he says, who is Bombers' #1 fan? I think I know who it is now. You want me to give you – who do you think it is, Lip? I think I have a pretty good idea of who it is. He always changes his name, kind of goofy. He's got the championship belt right now, so that gives it away.
I would probably guess it's either Porter or Hop. But
I think it's Draco. I'm almost like I'm about 80% sure it's Draco. Once I started talking about some money, and I said, just you got to give me your. He wants to start revealing himself now. It's a trap. It's a trap. All right, we got any more topics in the chat right now? A couple guys saying Lakers 275 says Cam sucks. He will start regressing soon. Yeah, he's going to be a free agent, so that'll be interesting to see if that comes true. So Delvar, you're essentially taking on a quarterback that's going to be regressing soon, according to Lakers 275. So that means big money contract coming to New York for Cam Newton. I mean, they paid Tim Tebow that kind of money in real life. You can make a mistake with Cam Newton. Anything else you want to talk about, Lip, before we get out of here?
No, I think we covered a wide variety of topics today on the show, and got to see that.
Wait, we got one more. Gub says, how great are the Chargers?
Oh.
Well, according to OSU, I mean, I don't know if they've lost. Might be the greatest to ever touch the sticks. He's the Midas touch of the NBL. He once turned his Xbox on and turned gold. I heard that story around the campfire once.
I want to know why Phillip Rivers has 13 touchdowns, 11 picks whenever he's got such a great run game and defense to go with him. That's what I don't know how great the Chargers are, but I want to know why those numbers exist.
100 QBR though, so that puts him at the top.
Oh yeah,
68% completion.
It's good, but
an improvement from last year. Last year's QBR was 88.1, 16 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. So, in a higher completion percentage, throwing a little bit more passes this year. Maybe that's the cause of it. Maybe they're trying to save Melvin Gordon a little bit. He's been hurt. What's going on? Bombers #1 fan. I'm not reading that out loud.
That's a lot of effort.
Are we good to go? Well, close us out.
Closing us out? That's an odd way to throw that on me.
Yo, Lip is horrible.
I'm just gonna sit here and.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming on the show. This was broadcast number 26. You saw the 3 and out. Next time we'll have the heads up. It'll be OSU versus Unisolated. We'll try to get them both on here to battle it out. The winner will battle Lip in a final round where the questions will be created by. The questions will be created by. Are you ready for this? The questions between Lip and the person that wins the whole thing, an opportunity to win a $50 to $100 gift card, we're still trying to figure that out, will be created by Delvar. And they're not going to be mad MBL related questions. They're going to be any questions he comes up with. Life questions, in NFL, NBA, hockey, Brooklyn questions. What's the street when you pass this and that? What's the pizzeria name over here? Those are the kind of questions he's going to be running with, fellas. And it's going to be first one to get 10 questions right, wins it all. So, you know, that's what we're going to be doing. We hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll see you next time on the Commissioner Corner podcast for Lip and myself, Bomber. Lip was running the show today, hosting it. Big shout out to him. Behind the scenes, pulling the strings was Delvar. And big shout out to Unisolated for coming on the show and participating in 3 and out. I'm your host, Bomber, and we'll see you next time on the Commissioner Corner podcast.